Will artificial intelligence help teachers or replace them? This is by Education Week, and that's got me thinking. I think I've had this thought for a while about artificial intelligence replacing teachers, especially now with ChatGPT. I'm sure most of you watching this video have played with ChatGPT. You can ask it, how do I do algebra? How do I understand certain formulas in physics? Like, it can teach you, and it's pretty impressive of what you can learn from ChatGPT. And will it replace teachers? It's hard for me to say. And I am curious of what people in the chat have to say. But let me say this. For K through 12, I think the elementary level, which is what, K through 5, I don't think teachers will be replaced because the kids still need interactions. They need that attention, right? They're still learning behavior, grammar. There's a lot of human interaction that's needed. Middle school level and high school level, I think there will be a significant downsize in teachers. I think there'll be more students per teachers, like a self-checkout, right? Not like the analogy I'm trying to say is, before when you go to the grocery store, you would see 12 checkouts. Each checkout had one cashier to assist you, right? Now there is 6 self-checkouts and there's one person there supervising it in case someone needs help. So they only need 2. So they went from 12 staff to 2, right? That's what I view it. I feel like from 6th grade on, teachers will probably be taking on much more students because right now is what, between 20 to 30 students per classroom? I think it's going to double, triple that with the assistance of AI. I remember in 11th grade, I failed out in like 2 classes, like a English and a biology class. And I went to a charter school to catch up. And this charter school, this was years ago too, by the way. Computers are around still. But this is like 2003. Went to a charter school, and it's just like a self-paced school. You just sit down and you just knock out what you wanted at your own pace. If you wanted to graduate as fast as possible, you can. Or if you want to just go at a steady pace like everyone else, you can. Or you could, if you need more time, you could take longer and graduate at a later time. It was very interesting. In there was like about 20 students, and there was like 1 teacher there. That's what had me thinking this is probably going to expand, especially with AI. And in case you're wondering, of course I graduated high school. I have 2 master's degrees now, and I have a great job. So I'm good. Just learn. I'm a slow learner, but I get there. And plus, with kids today, they learn. They have more tools to learn now. Like, I got nephews and nieces. They use YouTube for like a lot of things to learn. Like, my nephew learned he taught himself how to use the piano. He didn't go to a single lesson. He just learned everything from YouTube. And he also is like his math. He learned a lot of his math through YouTube. So these kids have a lot of tools, and AI can really amplify that, really accelerate them. And there's kids who are just so smart that they catch up on things like real fast. And like, why do they have to be in the same pace as every other student? I think kids should be able to learn at their own pace. And if they want to graduate ASAP, why not? If you're at the 9th grade and you could do everything already at the 12th grade level, why not? Why not just graduate and move on to college? I mean, there's some crazy kids that are out there. It's just, this would open up more lanes and more opportunities for those kids to do so. Those kids are really talented and can really go out there. It's just weird how we still have this legacy system of our education system, right? K through 12. If you're at this age, you belong this grade, and you're going to learn the same thing as everyone else. Whether you're mentally more talented than everyone else or not. Everyone's going on the same pace. Now, I think it's time to update the system. There's just some kids, they get bored at school because they know everything so well, and they get in trouble and whatnot. I think with AI, there will be an ability to just get kids accelerating out as fast as possible into college, College could be just much younger now, on average, if the ability for AI to progress. Now, it's unfortunate because I'm thinking about teachers, and that's jobs, and that's livelihood. And teacher's job is already difficult. And I don't want to get too political, but whenever local governments are cutting down budgets, it always starts at education. Education's always cut. Barely get any funding. Like, people have to fight tooth and nail to get certain fundings in school. And teachers have to spend money out of pocket for supplies, right? We hear that all the time. And I'm sure with AI, local governments are going to be all for it. They're like, dude, we can have less teachers and still have the same outcome for students, or students could get smarter and we could spin up great stories about how these kids accelerate, blah, blah. Could happen. It really can happen. So scrolling down, I see, is there a role for a teacher in that scenario? Or could they be replaced? Jobs are going to be transformed. I believe that. I think the legacy system, K through 12, and how everyone's on the same pace, I think that's going to change. They're not going to disappear. Yeah, not totally. Like, radio hasn't disappeared, right? But it's not as big as it used to. There's always going to be a role for a teacher. With automated curricula, there's still room for a person's intuition to watch the student where they're struggling and to adjust the curriculum. Yeah, I get that. Like, there's some students that just don't need help. They just keep going and going and going because they could read something, pick it up, or they see something, they could pick it up and they're good. Some students, like me growing up, I'm willing to admit it, I've had some roadblocks. Like, this did not fully comprehend in my little monkey brain. I need some help. And sometimes, there's some teachers who are really good at teaching, and there's some teachers who are not a good teacher. That's a different topic, right? Like, I've met like teachers where I didn't understand it from them, but I understood it from another. But it's not like their fault, right? It's just how certain kids comprehend things. I digress. Okay, interesting. Teachers are going to be able to help students use the tools. Did a calculator replace the role of human teachers in math classrooms? No. The teachers now has to teach how to do arithmetics without a calculator, and then how to use the calculator appropriately. That makes sense because, like, there was once upon a time a calculator, when they were first introduced, it was considered cheating. But now it's like, okay, first learn the basics of math in your head, and then use this tool called calculator to do much more difficult calculations. Calculations that are clearly impossible to do in your head at once, right? With all the memorizations of formulas, but at least you know the formulas. Here's a calculator, and get to the end goal of that formula, the answer. And we just keep pushing our intelligence in our arithmetics. Remember, word processor came out, right? Writing Word. No longer how to learn how to spell everything. It does it for you now, especially after grammar school, after elementary. It's like you don't need to really learn. You should kind of know it, right? For the most part, at least get close to spelling something that you had in your head. Spell it, and then you don't have to worry about spelling so much. You can just worry about concentrating on writing a good paper and keep pushing those boundaries. ChatGPT could be the next tool that teachers understand it, and teaching kids how to use it and push it to the limits of greater understandings, greater intelligence, of greater understanding of the world, everything they're trying to learn in the classroom. So maybe teachers won't be completely replaced. I don't know. This gives me a different thought on this last sentence here. On the other hand, it may not be a stretch for it to be much better than having no teacher, or having a teacher who's in a classroom that has way too many students for them to pay attention to. I think it'll be that. Like me personally, I think it's going to be a teacher's going to take on more students. But granted, there's going to be students that just don't need a teacher's attention at all because they just pick up things that are just going right through. And there's going to be some students who needs that extra help. That's what the teacher's going to be there for, to help them out. And again, I hate to be political, but I think local governments will be like, hey, if we could cut down funding for education, less teachers, they're all for it. Because they need that money for other development deals, whatever under table deals they get, whatnot. How do you prepare students for a labor market in which you don't even know what jobs might exist 5 years from now? It's a good question, but there's also plenty, right now, plenty of degrees you could learn right now that are utterly worthless. That needs to be tackled first. Then trying to figure out, okay, 5 years from now, what degrees are going to be considered worthless? Now that's the challenge. I don't have an answer for any of them. I don't have any on top of my head, but if you want to mention some in the comments that you think 5 years from now that are worth something now, but will become worthless in the future, I'm interested to know. But also, like, education doesn't like teach people how to work, right? It's just general intelligence, how to write, how to read, how to make a phone call, stuff like that. How to use a computer, like that's basically an education. But jobs, every job is so different, so it's hard for our education system to teach certain skills that are so different from with how big the job market is. There's so many different skills to learn from. So it's just like general skills is our K through 12. After that, you go find a specialty, and whether it requires college, trade school, or maybe no school at all, the employer will pick you up and teach you as they go. Well, that's it for this article. Let me know what you guys think. Our teaching job, especially in the K through 12 teaching jobs, rather, are they going to remain the same? They're just going to use AI as an additional tool to help students like they did with computers and calculators? Or is it going to be a significant reduction in staff because there's a potential to get a better outcome, which governments will take advantage of? Or somehow there's just jobs in teaching is going to completely disappear, and it's just going to be AI is going to completely take it over. So let me know in the comments. Please like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Take care.